Hi everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Laurie. I want to thank you all for joining us, and I appreciate your fun comments. It's really fun to hear where people are from and what projects they're working on. So today I wanted to show you some fun tips and tricks that you can do with the sewing version of Hoppy Easter, the bench pillow, as well as our Bench Buddies spring collection. And we're going to mainly focus on fringing by hand, and I also have some fun embroidery tips for this very same pattern. So if you have your pattern and its embroidery, stay tuned. We've got a fun tip that will help you as well. So to start with, these are just so fun. I want to show you the pillows that we're looking at today. These are just so sweet. Look how sweet these are. This cute little bunny with Chanel ears, and we've got this cute little Easter wishes bench buddy that goes, and they coordinate with our Hoppy Easter bench pillow. And this fringe right here is what we're going to be looking at and making today, and learning how to do the layered fringe. It's so much fun. But stay tuned next week. You'll want to tune in, and we're going to talk about the prairie points and how those are added, as well as making these fun clover flower bunnies, or ribbons, sorry. They're just fun. They're made with a cute little clover ribbon making, and it's so much fun, and we'll show you how to do that next week, and you can attach those to about anything, really. Super fun. So to get started today, I just wanted to show you first of all how we would do straight line stitching. So the very first thing, I'm going to show you one. This is what point we want to get to, so I can show you how to do the straight line fringe. So to get to this point, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your pattern and you're going to trace just your applique piece, which I've done, and you're going to put it on your fabric, your background fabric, and then you're going to stitch around it with your sewing machine. You can do a blanket stitch, any kind of stitch that you prefer. Once you've done that, you're going to come back to your pattern and trace on the stitching. So anything in blue, I drew everything with blue marker, or it's a water-soluble marker for sewing. So I traced it all out in blue, so I know that those are the lines that I want to stitch. Now pay particular attention to the wings and the hair up here. The hair I've already stitched over, but there's a blue line there. So as you can see, that's where I'm going to be stitching. And the pink lines I'm going to explain in just a minute. So first I want to show you, in the past we've done these fun fringed flowers. And the fringe on these flowers, they're so fun to make. And so we've taken the same technique that we've done on the flowers, and we've now added it in a straight line instead of a circular pattern. It's now done in a straight line, and we've layered it. And that's how the fringe chick wings are done. So you're gonna just love this. So here I have actually just done a demo of, this is what the flower would look like before it's trimmed, before it's actually fringed. You can see you make loops, and when you make the loops, it's okay if they're all different sizes, as long as they are all past a certain length. So I'm gonna just flip this up and show you. You can see there's a blue line, if I can get it, there's a blue line underneath. That's my trim line that I've made on my flower. And so you just basically, it's kind of fun, you just give it a little haircut, and you just cut it in a little circular motion here, and then you fringe your flower, and that's how your flower fringes. So wherever you've drawn your line, that's where you cut, and I cut a little crooked, didn't I?
That's okay, this is just practice.
So this is my practice one. So now I'm going to show you on this particular chick. If I pop this down, you can see a pink line. So my pink line that I've drawn is for where my loops, where I want the loops to go past. That way when I give this chick its haircut, I know that every one of these loops goes past the pink line. But as you can see, if I lay the loops nice and flat, they're different size loops. So it's okay that they're different sizes, because when I give him his little haircut, and I'm just doing the haircut along that pink line, then you can just fringe that, and that's his little tuft on the top of his head. Isn't that so fun?
Cute. I love it.
See how magical that looks? So I'm going to show you how to get it to the loop point. So the first thing I do, I'm going to show you on this side how I would draw those pink lines, because the pink lines are, think of it as the loop goal. This is your goal of what you want the loops to go past. So I want my first set of fringe to come down that far. And then the second fringe goes with this line right here, and I'm going to loop this and it's going to go down past that pink line. And then my third set is going to go just like that, and it's going to match that line. The reason I do them in two different colors so you don't get confused which line you're doing. So this is my stitch line, this is my loop goal line. This is my second layer stitch line, and that's the second layer goal loops. That's where you want the loops to go, and the third lines. So what I've done is I've done the first layer on this other side, and I've already done my first layer of loop. And I'm going to push those out of the way, and I'm going to show you, you'll want to tape those out of your way when you're going forward. I'm going to push that down. So I want to tape these out of my way, and there's my first loop goal line, which I met. So now I'm going to get my thread and needle, and what I do is, for the thread, I like to use the floss, and this is the floss that has the different strands. There's 6 strands here. Now you can use 3 strands, 4 strands, 5 strands, 6 strands, however many strands you want is how thick that this fringe will be. Just so that you could see, that very first haircut we gave him, those were 6 strands each. So the first thing I do is I've got a knot in the end of my thread, or my floss. I'm going to come up right here on the blue line. And remember, I'm headed down, so I'm going to pull it down and I'm going to loop it past this pink line. That's my pink line goal. And I'm going to go right next to that, but not back into the same hole. And I'm going to hang on to this so that it goes past my pink line. See how I've still got that? I'm going to hold it so it goes past my pink line. And then you do what's called a little tack down. So you've gone up at point A and down at point B right next to each other. And then I'm going to come up just on the far side of point A, and I'm going to go across just a hair past point B. That way I've done like a little tack down line. Now I don't know if you can see that. That's a tack down line. Right there's my tack down line. And then instead of going right back up right where I came down, I skip over 1 stitch. So you can see I'm leaving a space, and then I'm going to do my next loop. So I'm going to come down, hold it with my thumb, go back right next to the other loop piece right there. Now I've got my second loop. I'm going to hang on to that with my thumb. I'm doing this a little larger so you can see. I'm going to come in, back up on the far side by point A, and then I'm going to go down just past point B where I went down. And that's my tack down. You have to tack down each one of your loops. Is that a little bit easier to see? I made it a little bit bigger so you could see. So up and down there as your tack down. And I continue doing that. I continue skipping just a little bit of space. And the reason for that is I want to be able to make sure that my stitches are secure and not going to come right back out. If you're going up and down right next to each other, chances are you might come back up the same hole you just went down. Okay, so I'm backing up, and I'm coming up, and I'm tacking down those stitches I just made. Now this is my second layer of fringe, so it's just, basically you're going to do the exact same thing that you did on the top. So now I'm going to come back, and this is when I come back and I fill in every other hole. So I come up, come down, I'm going to make my loop, and there's my loop, and then I'm going to tack my loop down by coming up on the far side, and then I'm going to go down on the other side. And here's the cool thing, if you notice, the tack down lines, they line right up. You see that? So there's one, there's another one, there's another one. My next one will be here, and my last one will be here. That way it's a nice solid chain, and it looks really nice that way. So I'm going to do one more where I come up, and I hold it, and I come back down, holding that loop, and I'm going to hold some a little bit longer so you can see it's okay if they're different lengths. And then I'm going to come up right next to that and tack that loop down. And can you see the chain that's appearing right there? And I've covered, all my loops cover my loop line. And when I'm done with this layer, I'll tape it up and I'll do my last layer. So now to cut these different layers, see how much fun that's going to be? Yes.
Lynn says, so the tack down line is securing both ends. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct. Let me do, that's a great question. Let me do a really large loop so you guys can see. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to go far apart so you can see. I'm going down next to, but not right through the same hole again. I'm going to hold this loop, and this is a bit exaggerated just so you can see. I'm coming up on one side right by point A. So if I mark my first time up as point A, my point where I went back down is point B, point C then is next to point A, and point D would be right here on the other side.
So it gives you that clean.
So it gives you that clean line across the top of both of them. So that's what it would look like. Is that
Lynn says
easier
thank
to
you.
see?
So I think she got it.
Okay. And then the next time I start a ways away, and then I loop it so that you can, and I'm going to make this a little bit larger because it is tiny, little needlework is. But it's sure fun. I love doing this. So I came up at point A, down at point B, and point C is next to point A over here. And then I go clean across both of those. You see that? I go across both of those, and that forms my line. So you've got this line, and then when I come back to fill in, I come up in between both of those, right there. And then I go back down in between both of those stitches, and then you can see I haven't tacked it down and it doesn't look like a clean stitch all the way across yet. So then when I come up and do my tack down, I kind of like to line those stitches up going across.
Oh, that would look, yeah.
And so then you can see I've got a stitch, a stitch, a stitch, and I've got my loops down here. So, and then when I go back to cut these layers now, I'm going to show you on this one how to trim the layers. So this one I've done a full loop, and you can see all the stitches across where the blue line is, and I already erased my pink loop mark. And then here's my next set. I haven't done the full set, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how to give them a haircut, and then there is my pink line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off the top layer here. So it'd be like this actually. I'm going to tape off my top layer and leave my bottom layer down. I'm going to give my bottom layer the haircut. And it's kind of fun, like you're doing a haircut. You want to groom it down so it looks nice. So you can see how fun that fringe is. Now the situation here then is when this comes down over it, we don't want to accidentally cut the fringe that we just trimmed because we want to give it a layered haircut. So I'm going to actually tape down that out of the way.
Then you don't catch it.
Then I don't catch it. And then I'm going to lay this back down and give this one a haircut. And I want it to overlap, so I'm going to give it a little bit longer haircut. And so then I'm going to fringe that up. And then when you pull off your tape, then you've got your 2 layers of fringe, and they're 2 different lengths. So you can see this is one length, and then this is another length, and then you could even do a third. You can go as many times as you want. But what fun. So you could use this for grass. You know, this is just a fun technique you can use in several situations. So that is how you would do the fringed beak, or not beak, wing of that cute chick. All right, now I wanted to show you a trick that I do when I'm embroidering. So if you look over here, you can see this cute chick is right here, and there's a cute chick there, and here, and here. And if you're doing the embroidered version on these chicks, you don't want, they're pretty tiny, so you don't want them to bubble up and just be a bubble. You want them to be nice and flat. So this is what I like to do. So if this were my piece of fabric that I'm going to applique, before I go to applique, I put on the back of it a layer of heat and bond. So I already have some heat and bond, and you just iron it on. You iron it down, and then you peel off the paper part, so you can, I don't know if you can see that shiny. That's my heat and bond, the sticky stuff right there. And then when you'll place your tack down line, you'll place your fabric. Let's just pretend like this is our tack down line right here. You'll place your fabric down, you'll do the tack down line, and then you're gonna trim the fabric away. So if this were tacked down, then I would go about trimming so that the extra fabric is gone. Make sure that that step is first. Then you'll iron this down, and that will adhere the fabric all the way down so it won't bubble. It'll just stay flat with the rest of your fabric. And that is a great fun technique that we use a lot here. And you could use that technique in large situations, like let's say you have something that's a large applique. You could use this behind it, but make sure you trim before you iron, because you don't want to iron this whole thing down.
Okay, question.
Yes.
If making the machine embroidery version, is this done in the hoop or on the machine? And she's talking about machine, what you just talked about. So that's done in the hoop, right?
Yes, yes. Thank you for clarifying. So this was just a tip for machine embroidery. I should have gotten a hoop ready for you, huh? So if this were actually in the hoop and this was a placement line, then you would place your fabric over this. This would be done in the hoop. But I do add the heat and bond or something similar to that ahead of time so that my fabric comes prepared, basically with that already on it. Then when I have it tacked down, I just go iron it, and this little bit of adhesive adheres that to the background fabric, and it holds it really nice and well for you.
Good.
So I'd like to see pictures. I know some of you have gotten the bench buddies, and I'd like to see what you're making. Even if it's not the spring, if you've been making the Valentine, I would love to see the Valentine bench buddies as well.
Or the Easter bench pillow?
Yes. This one was so much fun and very, very simple to make. What I loved about it is each one of these were hooped, and you don't have to mark the bench pillows. You hoop each item, you make the embroidered part, and you trim it, and then you sew them all together. That's really, really simple. Super fun. This is a really fun one. Especially the glitter. You can use that polka dot glitter for the eggs and they're so cute. And then some copper glitter for the carrots. So cute. I love it. So this is one of my most favorite, I think, bench pillows that we've got. So I hope you go and try it. Have lots of fun with it. Let me know if you have any other tips that would help us. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.